Hello, welcome back to Hazel Jane Tarot. And as you can see from the title, today we are going to be talking about my experience at the TABI conference in Manchester in July 2022. So, TABI is the Tarot Association of the British Isles. I am not currently a member of TABI, but I am intending to join after the experience I had at the conference this weekend. And I'm going to put below this video the link to the TABI website if there are any tarot readers in UK who want to go and check that out. So I think membership is £10 for the year, so it's not expensive to join. Now, what you see before you is my goodie bag from the TABI conference. So very shortly we're going to get into the contents of this bag, which I looked through briefly while I was in Manchester and have not looked at since. So I can't wait to get a look at the goodies in this bag. But first of all, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the TABI conference and what it is. So there are two tarot conferences in the UK as far as I know. One is the UK Tarot Conference, which is in London in October and is run by Kim Arnold. And then the Tarot Association of the British Isles conference was the last weekend of July there, and it was held this year in Manchester. Now, I first found out about it from watching a video by Brian Cormac Carr, where he talked about his first experience of going to the conference a few years ago, and that sort of inspired me to check it out. Follow their Instagram, which I'll leave the tag for below as well. And then eventually took the plunge and booked a ticket. So it was £123 for the whole conference for members and £143 for non-members. Because the conference was in Manchester, for me that meant also booking some flights to Manchester, which is just like a 40-minute flight for me, and getting the hotel where the conference was based. So the conference started at 6 o'clock on Friday. There was a dinner, and then after that there were a number of workshops. So the first workshop was with Andrea Aste and Neil Kelso, and their topic was directional reading, but they talked about more than that. It was a lot of it was about sort of taking tarot in new directions, and some of the products that they've created separately and together, the approaching tarot in new ways and trying to rediscover sort of childlike wonder and magical discovery in tarot, which was really enjoyable. Their whole talk was really enjoyable. And then it didn't all finish until quite late, like 11 o'clock on Friday evening. And then on the Saturday, the first workshop was with Brian Cormac Carr, and he talked about life coaching with tarot. And through the whole thing, I took loads of notes. When I'm listening when I'm listening to people giving talks, I always make notes. It helps me concentrate. So I took loads of notes, which I still have to go back through. But we also were given some really helpful handouts. So like Brian Cormac Carr gave us a bunch of coaching questions to try. He also talked in loads of detail about like coaching techniques and his own ACEs approach that he uses with coaching. And then there were like tarot reading around that, and we got to, in pairs, we paired up and like did a coaching question with each other, which was really good. I was sitting next to the lovely Weird Wilson from Instagram, and we had a great chat about some of the stuff that was going on with us, so that was really great. And then the second talk was Tara Sanchez talking about Thoth for non-Thelemites. I'm not a Thoth fan. If you've watched my channel before, I don't read with Thoth. I have no real intention of reading with Thoth. I don't hate it. I like the art of the majors is really pretty, but I'm not into it, and that's fine. And after her talk, I've know a little bit more about it, but I'm still not really into it, and that's fine. But we did kind of finish up her session with going through the first operation of the opening of the key, which I was a little bit familiar with because I had done an online workshop with Bennabelle Wen a couple of years ago on that, and have like a folder of notes that thick in typical Bennabelle Wen fashion from that. So that was a good refresher. And of course, when we did the practice reading, the card, my signifier, did come up in the pile for the area of life that I was talking about. So the woo happens, as Kenneth at Common Hawthorne said. And then the next talk was Kim Arnold, who, as I mentioned before, organises the UK Tarot Conference, and she also edits the Esoterical magazine with Stephen Bright, which I'll show you in a minute. Kim talked for an hour and a half about feng shui and tarot, and I don't know anything about feng shui, and that was absolutely fascinating. She introduced us to the bagua and how got us to look at our home and like draw the floor plan of our house, and then there was a tarot spread that went with this, and you know, to help you with diagnostics of like the different areas of your life. And then she talked us through some prescriptions from feng shui, how to improve those different areas. So it was really fascinating. I really want to go back through all that because there was a lot to take out of that, and there was a couple of spreads that she introduced us to. And then the last talk was from Stephen Bright, who was talking about the Tarot de Marseille and the open reading technique. And I had a little bit of a grounding in Marseille because I had done some study with Tom Benjamin before, and so this was really, really great course. He went through a lot of techniques for visual reading, the open reading technique, and gave us a really helpful handout on that. So that was great as well. So that was all the learning, studying part of the conference. And I just wanted to show you the decks that I brought with me to use for that. And hopefully, as I've been talking, some pictures of the talks and maybe even some of the spreads that I created while I was working through the talks might have magically appeared on your screen. So one of the decks that I brought with me to use was the Gaian Tarot. As some of you may know, the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert is one of my all-time favourite tarot decks, if not my favourite. And I brought it with me last year when I went to Glastonbury, and it just felt fitting to bring it with me again. And I used this when I was doing the coaching workshop with Brian Cormac Carr. And it's interesting actually, like some of the other readers who I was sitting with or talking to, this was so different from the Rider-Waite-Smith that it didn't attract them. And I was remembering how I got this as sort of my second ever tarot deck, and how foundational the book for this was to my understanding of tarot. I think it was interesting. I wonder if I'd come at it later, if I would have found it a harder transition to using this deck. But the lovely Gaian Tarot was lovely to work with and nice to see it on the table because I haven't used it in ages. Another deck that I brought with me was the Radiant Wise Spirit Tarot that I'd got with the Total Tarot magazine. I didn't take this out of the box at all, so never used that. I also brought my one and only Marseille style deck with me, and that is this one, Le Tarot Noir, and I used this for my open reading practice. Now, the open reading techniques that Stephen Bright was exploring with us were for using majors only, so I did separate those out for the purposes of the workshop, and then I've shuffled them all back in again. And yeah, so this was fun to use, and I mean, it looks really nice. It's kind of quirky, and the people's facial expressions are also startled, but it was nice to work with that for the purposes of the Marseille workshop. But the deck I used the most, probably through the course of the weekend, was the Super Lunaris Tarot, which I think I might have showed you in my favourites last month. I think I got it last month. And I'm not sure who created the Super Lunaris Tarot because their name is not on the box, and I got this second hand. But it is a gorgeous Rider-Waite-Smith style deck, and I found when I laid out multiple cards in a spread, it just looked so gorgeous. The colours are so bright. The Rider-Waite-Smith's kind of meanings of it are so clear, but then it goes its own way in a few places and is just beautiful and modern. I really, really enjoyed reading with this over the course of the workshops, and it drew a lot of eyes, and people around the table wanted to look at it. And look at that, 6 of Wands. Isn't she so cool? I love her. So yeah, it drew a lot of attention and a lot of people were admiring it. So, and it's pink gilding and gorgeous backs. Such a nice deck. So I was really glad I brought that with me. It's one of my newer decks and I really, really enjoyed working with it during the conference. So I know what you want to see is what is in this bag. So it was a really fun moment actually after the meal finished. So we'd been sitting for a few hours together as the meal was brought into the room, and we had a nice dinner. And then the conference tables for the workshops were all set up in a different part of the room. So everybody eventually like made their way from the dining tables over to the conference tables, and these gift bags were on all the chairs. And it was so fun listening to all the gasps and everybody going, oh, wow, you know, as they opened their bags and saw all the treats we were getting. That was really nice. So anyway, let's have a look in this bag. So the first item on top of my bag is the Pamela Coleman-Smith commemorative set from US Games. Now, I know that the deck in this is the Smith-Waite Centennial Edition Tarot, and I have that deck already, but I never bought the commemorative set. I just got the deck in the small tuck box. So this is pretty exciting because there's some books in here. So I'm going to maybe have a look at that. I'll see how long this video is, whether I unbox the individual decks in this video or in a separate video. So I got that. That was a big, I mean, it's such a big kit, right? I was very excited to get that. Another deck that I think everybody who attended the conference got was the Rainbow Kipper by Tony Poole and Stephen Bright. So Stephen Bright, who presented at the conference, and I'm sure you know Stephen from Instagram. I follow him on Instagram. And Tony Poole, I actually had taken a workshop with her online in the Tarot Summer School a couple of years ago on Lenormand. So that's cool to get this. I don't have a Kipper deck. I don't know anything about Kipper, so that's something to discover. So I think everybody got one of those. The commemorative set, Pamela Coleman-Smith commemorative set, not everybody got that. There were the deck in the top of the bag was different from table to table. So I noticed some people got this Cirque du Tarot, which I was a little jealous of because it looks lovely. And yeah, a whole bunch of other decks that people got as they're kind of in separate different deck, which was cool. And then I think most people as well got a copy of this deck. So this is the New Chapter Tarot by Catherine Briggs, and this is published by Liminal 11. So as you can see, I haven't taken this out of the box at all yet either. So that was really cool. I mean, I'm sure you're watching this and you, like me, are surprised, like, wow, you got quite a lot of stuff, like proper good stuff in your goodie bag. So it was really nice, surprise. We also got this little book, the Little Book of Tarot by, it looks like Caitlin Patnick. So it's just a little sort of generic tarot guidebook with the card meanings and keywords and so on. I haven't read it yet at all. I haven't looked through it much. This strikes me as the kind of book that I might not keep. I might have a look through it and then pass it on to one of my friends who's in the early stages of learning tarot, where they might find it more helpful. But I think that's a nice outcome from a goodie bag too. Like this, isn't it? Like as a free gift. Like if it's not for you, but you can pass it on to someone else, then that's spreading the tarot love around. Okay, and then we got in our goodie bag as well the first 3 issues of Total Tarot magazine. Now, ironically, the first 3 issues are the 3 that I actually bought myself. The majors only of the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and then the full Radiant Wise Spirit deck, which, as you saw, I already have because I bought those 2 previously. So I'll have to have a think about what I'm going to do with these. I'm sure there'll be somebody who would quite like that Radiant Wise Spirit that I could pass that on to. And I have used my pre-existing Majors Only Golden Art Nouveau tarot to cover a file with in like a craft project. I cut them up and now I have them back again, so that's something to think about what I'm going to do with those. But that was nice to get those, and I'm sure there are people who didn't buy them who were delighted to get them. We also got a couple of catalogs sort of things, which I haven't looked at all yet. So this is the Autumn Winter 2020 Liminal 11 catalogue. So sort of what their products are. And oh, there's like a little colouring sheet in the middle, is there? Women and Patterns and Plants. So colouring book. So I'll have to have a wee look through that. I'm sure there's some interesting stuff. And then the Red Feather Mind Body Spirit catalogue. So some of their decks. And oh, what did I just spot? The Wild Harmonic Oracle. I remember seeing that, I think it was an indie deck before, and it was really expensive and I couldn't get it because it was too dear and shipping from America and stuff. Looks like it's out mass market now. If that was the case, I'll have to have a look at that. So yeah, it's got just a catalogue of all the decks that they have out. So that'll be fun to have a look through as well. And then there were a couple of bumper stickers. If you can read this, I can read you, which is funny. And shit happens, get a tarot reading. So I don't know if I'll put those on my car. Just with parking at work and not wanting to draw any attention to the tarot side of things, but they were fun to get. And they also, through the course of the rest of the conference, we ended up getting a TABI mouse mat and, very excitingly, a beautiful TABI tarot bag, a deck bag. So it's a really nice embroidered deck bag. There was a specific deck bag that you could order for the conference itself, that had the date and location of the conference, and it had like a bee, which is the symbol of Manchester, in the lining and on the back. I didn't order one of those. I think by the time I'd paid for my flights and everything, I thought I didn't want to add any extra expenses, but it was such a treat then to get this lovely tarot bag as a gift just at the end of the conference. So that was lovely to get. And then we also got one, Kim Arnold came around at one point and gave everybody a free back issue of the Esoterical magazine, and that is the magazine that is edited by Kim herself and Stephen Bright. Oh, there they are there. So that was nice. I've bought one previous back issue of the Esoterical. I like to get hard copy, so I'd got one and posted it. I got it posted over, but I hadn't bought any more. You can get it as an online purchase as well, like, you know, to read on a tablet or whatever. And I did before the end of the conference. The only thing I actually bought from the little shop table was 2 more back issues of the Esoterical magazine, so I could have those to have a look at. So they normally retail for £5, but they were selling them for £3. So yeah, I only ended up spending £6 at the table in order to buy those 2 magazines, and that was it. So all the rest of that stuff was all free gifts as a conference delegate. So that was just such a treat and a surprise. I mean, I thought there might be something as a free gift because I'd remembered from, you know, watching Brian's video that he had a goodie bag. I couldn't remember much about what was in it, but yeah, I was really, really pleasantly surprised to get so many lovely treats. And I think I won't unbox the individual decks now. I'll wait and maybe film separate videos to do that. to share what was in those decks with you, because otherwise this deck video is going to get way too long. So just to finish up, one of the nicest things about the conference was really just spending time with other tarot readers and talking to people about tarot, which in my day-to-day in-person life, there are only a few people that are that terribly interested. Obviously, we have each other online to talk to, which is super, and I love those conversations in the comments on my videos. But to meet people in person was great, and one of the first people I spoke to actually was Brian Cormac Carr, who I recognised obviously from his YouTube and his Instagram, and who is just so friendly and really lovely, just comes across in person just like he does in his videos, just really, really nice person. So he was one of the first people I talked to, and he was sitting with a very nice lady called Kathleen, who I ended up chatting with and chatting with through dinner. And didn't it turn out that it was Kathleen Matthews, who is the creator of the Celtic Wisdom Tarot Pack and many other Arthurian and Celtic and shamanic and other types of decks and books and so on. So I was rather excited to have met her, and she was lovely, really warm and friendly, and fun, and just everybody that we met, all the other people who I was sitting with during the workshops or talked to over dinner or lunch or for drinks after the conference, like everybody was just really friendly, really open to a new person arriving, because I, as I say, wasn't a member. I think about a third of the people who were there had never been to TABI conference before, so they were really lovely and welcoming to new members. And as I say, it's only £10 to join TABI. I will certainly be doing so. And I hope I'll get to go to the TABI conference again in the future. But there was, I don't want to shout out everybody that I talked to because I'll forget somebody. But if you're watching this and I met you at the TABI conference, thank you for making my weekend such a pleasure. It was really just a delight. So I ended up staying until the Sunday. So I had quite a long weekend in Manchester then, from Friday morning until Sunday afternoon, and I had a rather lovely time just being away. And I got to go to the Manchester Art Gallery, where I saw their pre-Raphaelite collection, which were just fab, and some really powerful paintings that I'd seen in pictures of but never seen in person before, so that was really cool. So yeah, Manchester's a great city, and I didn't actually get out and about in it that much because I was at the conference most of the weekend, but I did have some time to go exploring and I really enjoyed myself. So yeah, so if you have any questions about the conference, if you're thinking about going yourself or whatever, definitely hit me up in the comments. But as it is, yeah, I say I had a great experience, and I will hopefully be going again next year, all being well. So thanks so much for watching this, and if anybody from TABI ends up watching this video, thank you so much to the volunteers who organised the whole thing. They did a fantastic job, and everything ran really smoothly, and thanks so much for all their hard work and for the warm welcome. Okay, bye.